Building Tomorrow was created because there's a need. When you look and you realize that there are 31 million kids in sub-Saharan Africa who don't have a school to attend, someone's got to do something about that. And so Building Tomorrow is really a response to that. It's engaging young people here in the States to get up and be the drivers of positive social change and provide their peers half a world away with the chance to get an education. Building Tomorrow recently launched a new commitment with the Clinton Global Initiative to build 60 primary level academies throughout rural East Africa and to help train 450 teachers who will be placed in each one of those academies. This dual approach to our work is really important, not only in growing the access to education, but also growing quality. We still have a long way to go to reach both of those, but we're making significant progress, and we need more finances to be able to help us reach that goal. Building Tomorrow has been successful because we've been able to find a great balance between motivating young people in the U.S. and matching that with the commitment in Uganda. In the United States, we're working with young people and putting them at the heart of social change, helping them realize that such a small contribution of their time or their talent can really drive huge social change. And in Uganda, the value proposition for communities in which we work with is really quite simple. They understand the value of an education and how much their time and their effort will continue paying dividends for members of their family and their community years down the line. They put in 20,000 hours of labor. They give us land. We provide a challenge grant that covers the cost of materials that helps construct each Building Tomorrow Academy. I think what makes Building Tomorrow effective is the fact that we engage communities in every step of our model. So at the outset, we're really waiting for communities to come to us and tell us that they are in need of a school to be built. And all throughout the process, it's community-centric. They're the ones who are actually deciding who's going to come to work at the site each and every day. They're the ones who are deciding how we're going to split up the construction obligations from village to village. And ultimately, they're the ones that assume responsibility of the school once it's up and running. They sit on a school management committee, which helps ensure that the school is successful well after Building Tomorrow is finished constructing it. We measure success in a lot of different ways. And first and foremost for us, it's a matter of making sure that we're getting kids in school. We're working in a lot of communities that we would classify as really being the last mile, way out in the middle of nowhere in very rural situations where it's really difficult to get kids into classrooms. So getting them there and providing access is really the first metric of success that we use. The second one is the quality of education and what kids are actually getting out of their experience of being in school. That's where we've been putting a little bit more of our effort and our time in ensuring that our school management committees and the training of our teachers is up to par, so we can ensure that kids leave our schools willing to be and ready to be self-sufficient. Building Tomorrow is a very lean organization that has done a whole lot because we've really stayed true to some very core values of what the organization is doing. And the first is that we are community driven. Everything that we do is going to initiate and come from lay leaders in a community who are going to commit themselves to supporting our work. And we really have no desire to work in situations where that isn't the case. And I think that's extremely important. We're very transparent. We ensure that people, both here at donor communities and those in Uganda, when they're working with us, actually know what's happening with the organization and that particular project. And we really want to make sure that we connect with them on a level that gets them to understand the impact that their work is creating. And oftentimes that's most difficult in a place like Uganda, where we're dealing with family members and communities and parents who've really never had the chance to go to school themselves. So for the very first time, it's not just about constructing a school, but it's also about giving them the realization and helping them understand the importance of what they've done to empower their kids for generations to come. Some of Building Tomorrow's biggest accomplishments would be, I think, hosting President Clinton at one of our sites where he had the chance to interact with the parents who helped construct the school. He had the chance to interact with our teachers who've been through some of our early teacher training programs, and he had the chance to obviously sit down and interact with our students. And seeing him praise the model as a great way for a public and a private entity to work together was really, really awesome. I think beyond that, one of the biggest accomplishments for us is frankly putting schools where there were no schools before and giving kids access to an education and seeing the joy that parents have on their faces when they realize that they've completed and they've finished a school that they embarked on constructing 12 months before. The joy that you feel in one of those opening ceremonies is so palpable and so awesome that there's nothing that beats it. Most of the challenges that Building Tomorrow has are really logistics based. What we're talking about are some sites, for instance, where we've even had to delay the start of construction for months, and in one situation, a couple of years, simply to have a road graded to get to the site so we could actually get bricks and tin sheets for the roof and basic supplies out to the site. We're working in places that are really difficult to access, which is why the need is so great, and very few organizations have really gone there before. And so we find that some of our biggest challenges, again, are really based around getting what we need in order to be successful out to each site in which we work. Building Tomorrow recently made a commitment to build 60 schools and train over 450 teachers. That's a huge commitment, and we're going to need a lot of help to get there. The price tag on doing that is around $8 million, and all the funding that we would receive would go to help ensure that we reach that commitment and perhaps even do more. Building Tomorrow has made some really significant strides in developing a scalable model that we can take not just in different parts of Uganda, but also to different parts of sub-Saharan Africa. If you look at the continent, we know that 31 million kids in sub-Saharan Africa are without access to an education. Worldwide, we know that half of the population of those who don't have access to an education reside in 4 sub-Saharan African countries, places like the Congo and South Sudan. Building Tomorrow is really out to come up with a scalable solution that works in rural communities, that engages both the public and the private sector and communities to ensure that kids have access to a life-altering and basic human right, and that is education.